that came from this music, this band thing. It's something that I used to just daydream about, which I never thought I was worthy enough to do. I'm like, oh, I can't do music. Like, I'm not good enough. And the society says that's a bogus career. Like, that's not even a career. That's, something that I should don't even think about,
Yeah.
And this for me is like, I want people to know, I want to be able to remind people through music and through what I'm doing, and being an example of that they can do whatever they want to do. And
Hey guys, welcome to the West Coast Initiative. I'm your host Alex Castillo, here with another episode. Happy holidays to everyone. Today's episode, we interviewed Doah's Daydram, who is a musician, songwriter, and artist. She tells us her story from moving from Hawaii to California, the grind that she had to go through as her music career grows, but also the growth and how fast she has grown within the last 2 years. She also tells us about how she came to California thinking that she was wanting to pursue the money, the glory, the success from a sales position, but really realized that that's not all. It's more about happiness, and her happiness is in music. So it's a really fun one. She has a high energy. We cuts off a little bit in the middle, but we pick it right back up. We lost a little communication on the way, but it's an enjoyable show. So let the talk begin. Hey guys, welcome to the West Coast Initiative. I'm your host, Alex Castillo, and on today's show, it's a really fun one. We have Doah from Doah's Daydram. She's a musician, artist, songwriter. She even has her own cooking show on Instagram. How are you doing, Doah? How's your day going today?
Great. I am actually in Hawaii right now.
Oh wow!
Visiting,
really
yeah. visiting my family.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
How's COVID times right now in Hawaii? Because I know in San Diego it's really closed down, but how is it over there in the Pacific?
They have put some really hard regulations from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like COVID is kind of somewhat under control here. So everybody's still wearing masks, and to get to Hawaii and not be on 14-day quarantine, I have to go get COVID tested and, go through some uploading on the Hawaii website, like the state of Hawaii website and all that stuff. But it wasn't too bad.
What island are you at right now currently?
I'm in Oahu.
Ooh, look at you. Is that where you're from originally?
Yep, that's where I grew up.
That's nice. That's cool. That's really interesting, actually, that you're over there. I never heard. I always wanted to know what a Hawaii Christmas is like. What is a Hawaii holidays like over there?
It's 80 degrees. It's beautiful. It's warm. I was just at the beach, and the water was crystal clear blue, and people are surfing, and I'm hanging out in my tank top, feeling great.
Are you doing any music over there while you're in Hawaii, or are you doing any gigs or whatnot?
Dude, I wish, man. I was actually trying to figure out some, opportunity, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm here for another week and a couple more days, so I'm trying to link up with some musician friends and maybe play out somewhere or jam or some type of something.
Yeah,
the hustle never stops. You know what I mean?
No, I know, man. Especially right now, right? Like more than ever, everybody's gotta hustle some way or somewhat.
I brought my merch. I brought
Yeah, right. I see your guitar in the back. You're already ready to play.
Yeah. Oh, we're actually my friend is a videographer, and we are in a process of planning filming a music video right now.
Oh, nice. In Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh, dope. That would be very interesting. You definitely got to send it to us once you got that going down.
Absolutely.
So, now that we're on that topic of Hawaii, you said that you are from there. Let's go a little bit on your backstory. How was that like? How was growing up in Hawaii? how did you get to Hawaii to California? Tell us that little journey.
Yeah, so the journey, growing up in Hawaii is obviously you live in a paradise, but you also live in an island where it's beautiful, and I love my home, and I appreciate everything about the island and the culture and the aloha. But I wanted to get off the rock, I guess, and after I graduated from University of Hawaii, I decided to move. So I literally just, I don't know what really it was. I always had the desire to want to move to California. I was always fond of California. Funny story, like when I graduated high school, my mom asked me, like, what do you want for your graduation present? And I was like, I want a round trip to California. So she bought me a round trip ticket to LA. And it's crazy because, I worked, I got my first job when I was 14, and I've been in the restaurant, like hospitality industry. And when, I believe when I was 17, I started working at the sports bar in Waikiki. And you can imagine.
Were you cooking, or what were you doing in the
No,
food?
I wasn't cooking. I was a hostess and doing waitress, like serving and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I freaking got down back in the kitchen if they needed extra help, and we're like super swamped, or and shorthanded or whatever. But it's interesting because I learned a lot from that job, having that job, because working in a Waikiki, that's like a tourist town. So you meet so many different people from different parts of the world, Australia, mainland, just you name it. Just you get to meet so many people, especially if you're serving tables, or you get to chit chat with them and get to know a little bit about them. And they're always like asking, oh, what should we do here? We're on vacation. So you kind of get to like, know a little bit about these people. And I still keep in touch with like a family that I met when I was like 19.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and like this other family from like Australia that I met a long time ago, back in the day then, but
if they're listening, shout out to them.
Right. Yeah. But it's exposed, like being exposed to that, such a melting pot of just people coming together, and Waikiki is such a signature place for so many people. And I think that really made me want to move, like, because I knew something else was out there, I didn't want to get stuck in the whole island life, I guess, even though I love surfing and I love Hawaii and I love the culture. Like it's always going to be my love and my home. But yeah, I think that's what really drove me to want to move. And I loved San Diego. And actually, when I was 18, I went travel to, I landed in LA, but I explored San Clemente a little bit, and then I caught the train and traveled to Central Coast too. So I got to see all that beautiful part of California. So I think it was always in the back of my head, like since I was 18 years old, like I'm going to move there one day. And then one day I was just like, man, I'm just bartending, getting drunk. And, I have a college degree now. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, so I kind of just literally packed up my shit, and I had surfboard in one hand, guitar in another, and like I moved to San Diego. And I felt like San Diego was the warmest spot. So I was like, I think San Diego would be the easiest transition for me.
And we got a good surf styles over here too as well. We got a lot of surfers. If you go, I don't know if you dabble into even Baja and down South Mexico, but I know there's a lot of surf.
K38.
Yeah, there's a lot of surfing down there as well. And I was going to ask why San Diego. I mean, because you did say you landed in LA. Did you have like a day trip in San Diego? What like caught your interest mainly of San Diego between LA and San Diego? Because honestly, there's not that much of a difference of climate. You know what I mean?
Okay. Funny story is I was, this was in Waikiki. I met one of my really good friends who became my friend. So, like a hookup became.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I think I just turned 21.
Yeah.
And I went to this club in Waikiki, and with my roommate, and I met this like cute like firefighter, California, San Diego boy, at the bar.
I don't know if he's a boy. I think he's a man. I mean, he's fighting those wildfires out there.
I think I was 21. I think he was like 24.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
Come on, he's still a little boy. He was. So, anyways, like we ended up becoming really, really good friends. Like, and we just vibed, and he loves my roommates. He got along with all my friends. And so we started doing this thing where he would come visit me and we'll stay at our house. And I would go visit him, and I'll stay with him and his friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they lived in Oceanside, like Carlsbad area. So I surfed like Buccaneers. That was like the first place that I got surfing, like in Terramar. So I was like, man, I freaking love this place. And like I already started like making friends there. So it was just like an easy transition for me to go to San Diego. And it's the warmest.
All right. It is pretty cool. I mean, I love San Diego. I'm born and raised in San Diego. Oceanside's a little, for the listeners, Oceanside is a little bit outside the city. It's funny because like for San Diegans, when we hear like, oh, like Oceanside, you know, it's like a funny thing for like, we're born and raised San Diegans. Like Oceanside is part of San Diego for sure. But sometimes when they claim
it's its own kind.
Yeah, it's its own kind. It's like, you're San Diego, but you're not too San Diego. Like it's its own kind for sure.
Right.
And but I mean, the cool thing is that there's water everywhere, right? All down the coast. And you went from basically one place that you love, and you didn't really let go of the surfing because you went to another place where you can surf, and then also music as well. I mean, I think even on the music part, even not just in San Diego, because San Diego and the music industry is coming up, but of course LA has a bigger music industry, right? So it gives you a lot more opportunity, of course, of coming to California and doing what you love to do. You know, either be surfing, cooking, or singing and writing music. Which kind of leads me to the next question. How did music start? Like, because you say you had a guitar in one hand, surfing in the other hand. When did the guitar and music really start in Hawaii for you?
So it actually didn't really start because I play a little bit of guitar. I picked up guitar when I was in college. And so, I mean, I sang here and there my whole life, but I really started pursuing it last year. Oh, wow. So this is very brand new. Like, I would still consider myself pretty new. Like literally, I think I started going to open mics beginning of 2019, beginning of last year, and then started really taking it seriously last summer. Oh, okay. And I was just able to really get a lot done very quickly and make a name for myself in San Diego music scene, I guess.
How did you get so quickly? Because I was looking at your Spotify, and you had a lot of listeners listening to your singles and stuff like that. How did you rise so quick in the music scene over here?
Well, you know, I this is such an interesting topic for me because, I mean, I can go into so many directions and have so many different answers for this, but the bottom line is like, it's the work that I put in, you know? So, during the day, I have a corporate sales job. So where I started my sales career is selling solar in like residential, like solar. Okay. So, you know, like that's where like we would go to a residential area like San Pescaditas or whatever, those
Oh, I know.
suburb area,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then we would literally go and knock every single freaking door in the neighborhood and trying to sell solar, like trying to set up appointments and things like that. So that's super brutal. And that's where like I got my first like sales like experience. And then I went into B2B sales. So I started selling, I worked for Xerox selling copiers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another brutal one. I'll be like going, I'll just, my territory was Mission Valley
Mm-hmm.
and Hillcrest. So I would drive to Mission Valley and would literally like go to buildings after buildings and go into like businesses and say, hi, my name is Doah and I'm with Xerox, like blah, 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 you know, giving my spiel. And it's the worst thing ever. And I think that really helped me to prepare for, you know, the music thing, because that's pretty much like, it's pretty much the same thing. You're selling yourself. Like, and it's how, and sales is such a contact sport, which is music, and putting your shit out there is the exact same thing. So, you know, I literally went to all the open jams, all the open mics that I could possibly think of every week. No matter how tired I was after like a long day at work, I would make myself go, show face, talk to other musicians, ask them for advice, and Google. I'm like Google. I'm a Google freak, because you can't rely on anybody to do it for you, or you can't really rely on anyone to do anything for you, you know, pretty much. So I literally would just Google recording studios, give them a call, you know, go visit them, like see what other people are doing and learn from them. And, you know, just like hustling, like hard. And
that drive is there.
And you know, it definitely didn't happen overnight, because I have boobs. I don't you know what I mean? Like,
no, I know, it's because it's honestly like the music industry is hard in itself, right? It's a beast within its own, because, you know, everybody is trying to make it in some sort of success. And and I don't want to say like right now, you just said it's not just in the image. It's not this, it's the image. It's the drive. You know, if you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not putting the effort, if you're not researching your success and how to get to that level, you won't get to that level, honestly, because, you know, like for instance with us, like with the podcast, like if we're not putting content out, what value do we have to other people? You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have any value to be like to inspire anybody if we just say, oh, here's our interview, that's it. No, we have to like show them why this interview is important, show them why you are important, why the guests that we have is important, you know, and deliver that content and stuff like that. With the music, I feel like it's the same thing. It's just like you have to, it's a grind that you have to, first of all, you have to write your own music, right? You have to play your own songs as well most of the time. And a lot of times, like, you don't have help, you know, and so you have to look out for help, you know, because there's other people who want their own success, and then maybe they're like, no, I don't want to help you. I want to, you know, try to dog you down. Like, there's definitely those people a lot. But
so many. It's like there's so many. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's unfortunately sad, but you did not quit. I think you had that. I want to say, and we discussed it in the past episodes. You had this like rejection picture, right? Because I'm assuming in sales, when you went to those buildings and offices, you got rejected a lot because it was like, no. And that's why I'm assuming you were saying it was brutal, you know. So you kind of already like went through all that. You're like, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm gonna start writing my music. Even if people don't like it, someone out there's gonna like it, you know. Even like for instance, if these people don't want to buy it, one person's gonna buy it, right? At least one or two or three, maybe 80%, 70 might say no, but you know, what about the rest, right? The rest might appreciate the panels appreciate your music. So it's definitely that drive that I could see that now, hearing that from you, that's how you've gotten so far, you know, and you still continue because you keep on putting content. Like I watch your Instagram a lot, you know, like
when it's on my feed.
Aw.
And it's honestly Doah's Daydram. Like, oh wow, she put another one. You know, like I think yesterday was you were in Ocean Beach, I believe, or Oceanside when you were wearing that dance
Ocean Beach, yeah.
the Santa outfit. And I was like, damn, she's
Yeah.
really, you know, driving hard. And a lot of people are so insecure about themselves put it out there because they're fearful of that
And you know,
rejection.
one thing I want to say about that is if someone is like, if there's people that are there, they're not going to give me opportunities to play at their venue or book me or whatever. I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I got my own. That's why, like, I was like, I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna buy my own PA system. I'm gonna set up on the beach and run my own events, make my own flyers, promote my own shit, promote myself, and promote my band. Like, I'm not gonna wait around for people to give me opportunities because that shit ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's like, and a lot of people don't get that. And you know, and you talked about rejection. That's such a great topic that, you know, a lot of people talk about it, but they don't really get it. It's like rejection, like we got to think about it. Like people get so personal about rejection.
Yeah.
But we have to, I think going to door, like all that shit, I start to realize when they slam your fucking door in your face and scream at you, I'm calling the cops if you don't freaking leave. And that comes, understanding that rejection comes from like, we have to be empathetic. Like, we have to learn how to put ourselves in their shoes and reflect. If I was a homeowner, some fucking strange girl coming up to my home when I was in the middle of something and annoying me, like, what would I do?
Yeah.
Probably do the exact same thing. Nothing personal. It's like, you would do the same thing. And it's like rejection, the no means not yet. And most of the time, people are just busy, you know? And then, like, and much as I hated, you know, knocking on doors, selling solar and selling copiers and blah, blah, blah.
You needed it.
I needed it. And, like, it really, like, I'm so grateful because I feel like it really prepared me for this and how much I was able to accomplish within such a short period of time. And, you know, I'm 33 and some people will be like, dang, like she's 33 and she's only now starting this. There's that talk too. I know, like, I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not like just blind, you know?
But then again, I guess those people that say that, right, are the ones that are not even doing anything too. A lot of the times.
Exactly.
A lot of the times it's the people that are not honestly doing. And those are actually the people that are actually more afraid of the rejection. You know what I'm saying? Because those are the people like, maybe not, maybe you should do this. You should worry about more about your job, like something more secure.
Right.
Because they're more about security than about like taking the risk, right? Taking the risk of making that leap of faith for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And the thing is, like, if I tried to do this when I was 22, I probably would have failed. You know? Yeah. I mean, maybe not. Who knows? But then, like, I can only, like, think about, like, what's happening now, but how much of things that I went through in my early 20s and my late 20s, all the hardship and all the freaking shit that I hated, all that stuff really prepared me for this moment right now.
Yeah.
And I can only, like, be grateful for it because it's so easy to go into that headspace, like, oh man, like, I wish I would have started this 5 years ago. Like, it's like, you know, you get into that what if, like, you know, that space too. But anyways, like, it's I forgot what we're talking about.
The rejection part. And I do want to go back to that part because one thing, I don't know, maybe you can say in light of this, something that helped me a lot when I was a kid that my mom always told me and always kind of imprinted this to me is that the no is always there. Right. But you never know if you're going to get a yes. Like, for instance, you say about gigs, you know, I'm not going to wait for my opportunity. I'm going to make my opportunity. Right. If you keep on making those opportunities, even then you go to another venue and trying to get a gig there, And you go in there knowing that there's already going to be a no, but what if there's a yes? You know what I'm saying? Now there's a yes. Now there's more opportunity, right? There's more people are listening to you and whatnot. And I believe that's what's happened with you, right? Because you're saying you barely got into this about 2 years now, and looking from the Spotify, how many people have listened to you? Because I see the number, I'm like, wow, she's got quite a few people listening to you. You know what I mean? And in the thousands. And it's actually really cool that you're telling me this, because like a lot of you, and even the topic about failure, I don't believe that even if 5 years ago, even if you would have failed, like even failing is also a learning lesson, right? It's a pro too. It might be a con at the time, like you might think of it as like, oh, but it's also about how to put it in perspective. It's not about being positive about it, but put it into perspective of how to learn from that.
Oh my God, yeah. And going off of what you just said, failing. You want to hear something fucked up?
What's up?
I failed so much that if things are going too well, I get uncomfortable. Like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah. Because something's about to be wrong. Like, something's coming. I get you.
Yes, but here's the thing, though. Every failure I had, I was able to overcome it, and I was able to become stronger, and I learned something from it.
Yeah.
So it's almost sick as it sounds, like sick in the head as it sounds. I'm almost like, ooh, what am I going to fail at next? Because that growth is coming. So I get really like anxious if things are too good.
Yeah.
Because what I mean? Because that's like, I'm being like, am I being like just stagnant, kind of thing. So like I start to get like anxiety if things are going too well.
Yeah.
And for a long period of time, because then I start to think like, what the fuck? Like I need some shit to happen to me so I can like learn from something and then like grow from it and feel all this pain and shittiness. I mean, that's so fucked up because like I feel like that's how I lived.
But you need adversity.
Life, almost.
You need adversity to get through the success and stuff like that.
So here comes another thing. Like I don't, and this is something that I've been reflecting on this topic that we were just kind of at. I need to appreciate my own success more.
Yeah.
Because I'm so hard on myself. That's why. And then I realized I'm like, oh shit, like I need to celebrate some wins before I can start looking at what the fuck am I going to fail at now?
Yeah.
Because then I feel like I just chase that now, that where I forget to really love myself and give myself the self-love and, talk myself up. And I forget to do that. And I'm always so hard on myself. Like I need to do this, that. And it really affects like maybe my corporate world, maybe with my music, like it seemed like it's going well, but it affects my relationship with people, like love, like friendship, because I'm so like, when you don't know how to love yourself, like you can't love others. And I realize that I lack in receiving love too. Like when people do something for me, I have a hard time receiving that love. And so it's like a whole, like a round, like a circle of, thing, but
circle
like,
of life.
yeah. So I don't know. It's, I'm kind of fucked up in the head, I guess, but like,
no, not at all. I mean,
but like,
no, man. and it happens. I mean, I've had my fair share of deals of where like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And, a lot of the times we have to kind of like, like for instance, for us, right? We posted a video not too long ago of our why the podcast, and I learned that and I think I mentioned in the last episode, but I learned that because I invested into Masterclass. I don't know if you've heard of Masterclass, which actually I think you would enjoy Masterclass because there's a lot about music on there, like Tom Morello, Dead Mouse. I think it's like about almost $200 a year. I think it's like 180. Right now they have a deal where it's like you buy one, you get one free. For you, I think
Oh.
it'd be perfect, honestly, because there's a lot of music things. One of my favorite guitarists is Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave. He's on there, and
Mm.
he's like, and I was just listening to his stuff. Christina Aguilera,
Oh wow.
Alicia Keys, and they're having their master classes teaching you how to sing, how to write songs, how to do whatever. Anyways, one of the ones that I was listening to is the CEO of Disney, well, ex-CEO of Disney, Bob Iger. And, it's basically you need to strategize, like, and keep your strategy simple. Write your three, kind of like write. And I started writing my three whys. Like, why do we have this podcast? So there's times where it's like, am I doing like the right thing? Am I? And I wrote down my whys, and it just feels more powerful. And now it's like more clear and concise of like, that's the reason why I'm doing it. It's not just in my head, like, because in my head I could start thinking like I'm doing this for this, but this and that. And like I wrote it down. Now it's like on there. It's like this is the reason why I did it. This is the vision that I want to keep on doing it, and this is, to give back to the people. You know what I'm saying? It's to
Mm-hmm.
help you guys share your guys' stories, because everybody's story is they start from a bottom and get to a top, right? And they're still trying to reach a
Yeah.
higher level in that mountain. Like for instance with you, it's we're trying to share your story, right? Even though you say it's like such a huge struggle, but you've in some sort of way you make such a success to it as well. And a lot of people kind of give up, and people who give up need to hear these stories. It's like, maybe I shouldn't have given up. Maybe there's other opportunities. Like Doah really out of a job, like came out of the 9-hour shift, 10-hour shift, still sang at the open mics no matter what. Maybe the open mics didn't have 2 people, maybe 3 people, 5 people. It was crowded. You never know what you get at open mics. I've been to open mics too as well. At Lestat's, I don't know if you've ever been to Lestat's, but
Yeah, I have.
at Lestat's coffee shop over
Oh,
here.
I played some horrible ass shows too.
Yeah, I mean, but you need
Standing, it
those
was
shows.
embarrassing.
But you need you need those shows though, right? To progress on. It's like
It
for
humbles you, man. Like
yeah,
you
it
learn
really does.
humility. Like you learn, like it humbles you. Like like you have to just embrace it. And sometimes it's really hard because you want to be so good and you want to be this perfectionist all the time. But damn, like it really like snaps you out of things and like, oh damn, I'm only a human. Like
Yeah.
like you just have to accept it and just move on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier said than done. Oh man, you have no idea.
You're right. It's easier said than done, but if you I feel like if you're constantly investing in yourself, and not just like, I don't mean like in like music terms, or like or any kind of, like, I mean mindfulness too, because you also need to be mindful as well of what you're doing. You need to be happy first
Yeah.
off, because even if you get to success, you might not be happy. You get to the top, and you're kind of like, well, what's next? Like, I'm not happy. You thought it was
Right.
you thought it was this other big thing that was going to give you happiness, but honestly, what gives you happiness is yourself. And if you don't follow through that, even if you become a big rock star, I mean, look at, rest in peace, but Chester from Linkin Park, right? He millions of albums sold, and he wasn't happy. Chris Cornell from Audio Slave, successful, but they weren't happy because they just weren't happy with themselves, or whatnot. That's like a totally different topic. But I mean, what I'm referring to is like, you need to be happy within yourself and know what your progress is and anything that you're trying to do. I know we got a little bit on the tangent on this whole on this whole
No,
feeling.
I mean, no, like
it's a good topic to talk about because people do it every day.
Yeah, and that goes back to like you mentioning about why, and when you have a true purpose, like I feel like it's not about the fame, it's not about the money, it's not anything like that. It's like that just gets put like in the back burner. And people who are really successful, I feel like a lot of them, that's their mindset. Like they don't think about the money, they don't think about the fame, they don't think about that when they first start doing something. It's what they're passionate about, and the real why is there. And the money thing, the fame thing, that's temporary. That's not going to keep you happy for a long time. Like materialistic things, it's like And you bring up a good point, and it's why for me is always changing because we're always growing. So like the why becomes like more whys. And then sometimes I can't sleep because you just ask so many whys. Why upon whys is like, why am I doing this? And you answer that, and then you be like, why am I doing this? Why? You know, like, and then you start to go through this like spiral of whys. But then when you start to, you know, from all the hardship, from all the, you know, pain and all the shit that you went through, you start to really like peel like each layer of that like your consciousness, and you get to the really deeper your stuff. And I'm still figuring out, you know, what that is. So I think like my freaking why always changes sometimes. It's weird, but then I think that means I think it's just getting deeper of more whys, if that makes sense.
You got so many whys.
Yeah, I have so many whys. It's like
you got like whys to the fifth power, I swear.
Yeah, and then you're just like, okay, and then I would start asking myself, okay, but why?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh shit, and then like it's like freaking me and like Schmeagle like over here talking, you know, like, you know, like it gets kind of like crazy, but the why thing is really, really, really crucial, I think, because that really gives you the drive to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, keep doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Keep making music, like, because that's the why that you live for. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's that why that really matters to you. Yeah. Like deep down inside, it's like, you know.
Okay. So let's dig deep more into the music part. I mean, what about music like gets you going, like the feel, the vibes, like what, you know, you sound like you know, there's a lot of going on, right? But once you start playing music, what like gets you going about it?
So as I mature as a musician, I realize that, well, I'm a really emotional person.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could tell.
Yeah, so I'm a very passionate person.
No, that's good. That's
and
good.
I'm very emotional. And when I perform, when I sing, something about this emotional thing that I feel and that other people can feel, that is just something that I don't know. It's like this feeling that I can't really explain, but I think other musicians might understand, or you know,
is it like a numb
maybe
feeling?
when you're doing this, you get like a high off of like interviewing people because this is feeling your why, right? So it's like that feeling of like being able to express and being able to share that with other people, and like being able to like bring some of the emotions that we are trained to cap, like you know, as we're young, especially for men, and this is something that I've been like really being open about, is like being emotional is, society tells us that being emotional is bad. You know, maybe not too much anymore, but you know, like even when we're growing up, like we shouldn't show emotions. That's a sign of weakness. Like we shouldn't express how we feel. Like, I mean, I was raised like that. Like my parents, like barely said I love you, barely physical or touchy, or you know, it was just very like old school, you know. So that's how, you know, I was raised, and so I craved more like emotional like thing, you know. And because I'm such an emotional creature, like emotional person, like being able to bring that out of people really makes me feel like that's my calling. And I think that's through my voice and that's through my music, because people feel it. And people tell me like, you know, your voice is very unique, and that, you know, I feel so much emotion when I hear you sing. And I think that was the gift that I was given. So, you know, I really want to, that's my why, that's my purpose of like, I want people to feel. And because I think that makes everybody a better person.
Yeah.
Because right now, when we really think about like how we communicate with each other, like with your lovers, with your friends, with your family, the communication, we lack in communication. And that's because we are unable to internalize our own feelings. And like we have subconscious feelings, right? And all these things going on that like we don't even know that's happening, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's because we were trained to block all that off ever since we were kids. And like we need to like really work and help each other to get back into the basic of being able to express our emotions and learning to listen to what's really going on internally so we can have more successful relationships, more successful life. So people live day to day just clocking and clocking out, not knowing that why and the purpose. That's because like people are forgetting to listen to themselves, listen to who they are, and just doing the everyday like, oh, I'm supposed to do this because my parents told me that I have to do this. I'm going to college because my parents told me I have to go to college.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like I can imagine because we're all
kind of conditioned.
Are on this, yeah, we're all on this earth with a gift.
Yeah.
You know, I really truly believe that every individual has a gift, and finding that many of us, I feel like 80%, 90% of the people in this world live this life without even getting a taste of that, not even knowing what the gift is. You know, and can you imagine if even 50% of this world population know and actually get to taste and actually get to practice their gift and their calling every day, how much better this place would be? Like, so it's like, and getting in tune with their emotions and knowing like to listen is like, that's like the biggest thing, like the self-awareness and the internal, like internalizing your own feelings and really listening to yourself. And you know, and I want to empower people to do what society says no, you know?
Yeah.
So like, so as Daydream, that came from this music, this band thing. It's something that I used to just daydream about, which I never thought I was worthy enough to do. I'm like, oh, I can't do music. Like, I'm not good enough. And the society says that's a bogus career. Like, that's not even a career. That's, you know, something that I should don't even think about, you know? And this for me is like, I want people to know, I want to be able to remind people through music and through what I'm doing and being the example of that they can do whatever they want to do. And, you know, like we don't have to listen to what other people says. We don't have to go what society says we have to be or to do. And it's like, and their slogan is like turning your daydream into reality.
Oh, that's cool.
And you are worthy of your dreams.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the whole Doah's Daydream, the name came about. It's like turning your daydream into reality. Like it's a daydream, but you're going to turn it into something real. Like we're going to stop daydreaming about this. We're going to turn it into action. And this is what this is. And like, I just want to inspire people that, that really cool. They can, if I could do it, a freaking little old me could do it, they can do it too. You know what I mean? Whatever their calling is, whatever they're here to do. And once you find that, it's crazy. Like everything starts to open up for you. Like everything just becomes like crazy as it sounds. Like all my corporate jobs was so hard and it was just one roadblock another after another. And then when I started to do music, I thought it was going to be the same thing because that's what I'm used to, you know?
Yeah.
But it's crazy how like opportunity just kind of starts to open up and like things come my way and like it's so hard to explain, but it just.
No, but it's good that you're taking the opportunities, right? Like if you don't take those opportunities, you don't know what's next, what's the next after that.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you actually, what was your first performance? You know, what was that feeling like? What was was it nervous, anxiety? What was that first performance like?
Okay, so
Because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that's like wanting to perform for the first time, but they're just like, oh, I don't know if I should. I don't know. What was your first one?
okay, so performing is really scary, especially like you being on stage by yourself and there's people just like looking at you. And especially, you know, singers, I think it's singing is such a intimate thing because it's your voice and it
Yeah.
comes from your gut, you know?
Mhm.
So it's not you just picking up a guitar and playing the guitar. Like, you know what I mean? It's like singing. It's your voice. It's like
yeah, yeah.
it's such a, maybe I'm a singer, so I'm biased, you know what I mean? But, you know, I feel like, you know, singing is the oldest instrument ever. And it's such a, I feel like it's way more intimate than any instrument that you just pick up and play, because it really comes from within and it's your voice. And everybody has different color, like everybody has different voice, you know? So it's like a very unique instrument, I think. But also I'm a singer, so I'm biased. So, you know, it's scary, but the thing that I remind myself is that, hey, like I empower, like I do my self-talk, you know? But also you have to be practiced. You have to practice. You have to make sure you're prepared. Then, you know, be like most confident as you can be. But sometimes you just got to do it anyways, even though you're not. You don't feel prepared. You just kind of go with it. But I think the first performance that, oh my God. So, you know what the term busking is?
I'm sorry?
Busking?
No, I don't.
Okay, so busking is like, you know, street performing.
Okay.
Okay, so like I thought that was the most scariest thing ever. Like before I got into all this,
really?
right?
Oh, wow.
I was like, I would look at people setting up on like the street and just playing guitar and singing. Like I was like, oh my God, I could never, ever do that. Like that's such a scary thing. And I'm getting fed steak.
Oh, no.
But anyways, my mouth watered.
I bet, man. My mouth's watering right now. I mean, I wish I was
but it's like the thing. Okay, so I was like, if I can busk, I can be on stage and I can do whatever I want, right? That was like the biggest thing that I feel like I need to prove to myself and overcome.
Mhm.
So before I even got on stage anywhere, I mean, open mic doesn't really count. So before I even got on stage, I bought like these little like Bose, like battery operated, like little like
amplifiers.
Amp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this was in Ocean Beach. I think this was like April of last year.
Mm.
So I like it's like 9 o'clock at night, and I drive to Newport Avenue, like in my little car with all my gear in the back, and I pull up to the Starbucks because it's right next to the ATM and it's like there's a light, you know. So I was like, oh, this looks like a good spot. I literally parked there and looked at it for like 15 minutes. Looked at that little area, like that with the light, and I was like, oh my God, I was so freaking terrified. And then I just like literally like if I'm like, am I gonna do this or I'm just gonna keep looking at it and just keep looking at it and even get more nervous. So I literally just count to 3. I was like, I'm gonna count to 3 and I'm gonna open my door, you know. So I was like, 1, 2, 3, and then like I opened my door and I was like, and
like I'm doing this.
yeah, and I'm like shaking, you know. Yeah. And I grabbed my guitar, set up my little amp, and I'm like sober as fuck, super nervous. And then I like set up and
Just
I started strumming my guitar, started singing, and then everything just kind of like
kind of
went
just
away.
flowed away. Oh wow. See,
Yeah.
and it's funny because like that part right there is the fear. Go ahead, go ahead. That part right there is the fear factor, and it's funny because we just talked to Walter Lepe, who is realtor, real estate, huge CEO for his company, and he was talking about like it's always, and we kind of reiterate back to this earlier in this episode, that fear step, right? It's like we're so fearful of what's gonna happen that right when you do it, it's like, oh shit, like why was I even
That's
afraid?
nothing. Yeah.
And it's like those 15 minutes really you kind of think of like, what the fuck was I staying there for 15 minutes? Like you look back, it's like that was nothing. Like that's now you look at it now, it's way in the past, and it's funny to laugh at it.
Right.
It's kind of like now you have to get that step, which is a big leap, even if it's just you say it's called bucking.
Busking.
Oh, okay. Even
Bus.
if
Yeah.
busking. Even if it's that, I mean, it's a stepping stone, right? To new things, and now you were able to go to open mics because I'm assuming you went to open mics after that now, and that's how you kind of started your career
Yeah.
from that one little corner. I know that street too. I know that street pretty well.
Well, you want to hear about a actual show that the first actual show that I played?
Yeah, that's it.
We played as a band. It was at 710 Beach Club, and we were like it was actually an open mic night, but they gave us a main slot, so they let us play for 30 minutes, and that's kind of like you're like, okay, you are graduating from open mics now. Yeah, kind of that type of transition. So that I would say that's like the first show that we played, and I had a full a band with me. Oh, we fucked up so bad. Oh my god! So
it was bad.
Oh, we were terrible. We were playing off key. I don't even know. And but I was so running on that high of just excitement of oh my god, this is my first opportunity ever. I'm so excited. And all my friends came, and thank God, because then you have your support system in front of you, so you don't feel as bad, but because even if you fucked up, they're gonna still cheer for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thank God for my friends. That shit up. Yeah. First half was great, and then the second half we start to crumble, and then something was happening. I don't even know what. Everything was falling apart towards the end, and we were playing this song. It's called "The Good Girl," Drip Drop Wet. And then when we're performing live, I usually get the audience involved and say okay, do you guys hear me say, "You can make me," yeah, and then drip drop wet, So
yeah.
I started we're fucking up so bad, just so I was even I just you know what, fuck it, we're fucking up, but no one knows the song. No one knows if we're fucking up.
Yeah.
So I just literally just went ape shit crazy and just brought the stage presence and just push with that and just
that's good.
started screaming what, drip drop wet, and then everybody just started screaming drip drop wet, and thank God it turned out to be a really fun show. But yeah, that was the first one, and
that's cool. I mean you saved it, right? I mean, that you need to show that performance for sure. It's not just I mean, music is good, but when it comes to stuff like that, for instance, Freddie Mercury, right? He wasn't just a musician. He was an entertainer. He's there to entertain the crowd. You knew were your band was kind of fucking up. The crowd didn't know. You're like, all right, how can I change this really quick? You know what? Let me entertain the crowd. Drip, drop, wet. You're getting people involved and stuff like that. So that.
And I never played one show where I said, oh, it went everything that I wanted to, that I planned for.
Yeah.
Straight up, something goes wrong, some shit happens. It's it's you gotta roll with the punches,
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, I think.
No,
So
yeah,
if those of you out there who's feeling scared and want to go to open mics, but they can't do it, just think, first of all, roll with the punches, but you're like top 1% of this, people in this world that's actually out there doing it. So
yeah.
it's
Sure.
like, you got to give yourself more
And
like
don't stay in the.
love, pat in the back.
I said don't stay in the car for 15 minutes either.
Yeah. Exactly. Just do it.
Make it 10
Because
minutes
it's
and then
not
get
that
out.
bad. It's not as bad. It's not as bad once you do it. Once you do it, you're like, damn, I was all stressing out because of that. It's all in your head.
You know,
so,
it's funny. Kind of a little thing that you mentioned earlier. The three. You did a little 3 seconds and then open the door. I actually learned that. I forgot what the lady was named, but there was this technique that this lady was like. She kind of goes and does conferences and stuff like that. She's really successful. I can't put the name to her, but anyways, she has like this 5 second rule, right? Where she says like a lot of times people stop doing stuff after 7 seconds. Like they think about it after 7 seconds, and then most of the time they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it no more. So she has like the 3 to 5 second rule, which I believe you did it without even knowing. You're like, you have like 5 seconds to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, go. And then you're automatically doing it yourself. Like you that 5 second rule, 3 second rule. And that was actually really cool. Listening to it, it reminded me to what she had said. Put a little 3 second, 5 second rule to yourself and just do it, and you did it. And then that started everything. That started the spark. That started the Doah's Daydream. And that's cool. I mean, that's awesome to hear those type of stories, right? You came from Hawaii, not knowing what's going on in California. You started dabbling into music. You got into the music industry these last few years for sure. Really got into it. Now look at you. I don't think 5 years ago you probably look back to yourself 5 years ago. I don't think you ever thought you would be where you're at, right? I don't think you'd be doing an interview for a podcast about your music. I don't think you'd be thinking like, oh, I would have performed at that one place, 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy. And that's another way to look back on stuff and congratulate yourself as well of what you've been through. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, it's funny because you remind me of a chef too, a sous chef that I used to work with. She was, she's also from Hawaii, but she's like, her family's Okinawan. And she told me a little bit about like, it's a very dry kind of love emotion that you get from your parents. You don't really get that. So that really reminded me actually of her. Shout out to Stacy if she's listening. That just trying to get that emotion, wanting to receive that emotion that when you go into, I don't know if that's how it is all in Hawaii. I don't want to gentrify that all of Hawaii is like that, like the culture. But like when you come into California, it's definitely a totally different vibe to California to Hawaii, right? Or even from Texas to California. It's just like a totally different perspective. Even from the East Coast to West Coast, different perspectives and different types of emotion. I'll tell you what, I've been to New York quite a few times already, and the people over there is totally different to the people down here. Over here we're more cool, lax, and whatnot. But over there, it's more like rugged, rough, get shit done right away. Let's go, fast pace. And you jumping from Hawaii to here, it's just, that's another fear factor. Nobody, and not a lot of people like to leave their childhood place. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I love San Diego. I kind of, not that I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I always thought about living in New York before I had my wife, and my son, to pursue
So
my
let's,
culinary career.
sorry to the listeners, we had a little misconnection right now. Technical difficulties with the laptop, but we're back on. And, so let's dig right back into it. My next question was actually going to be, what has been your biggest awe moment, and it could be in your life or in music career. What has been your biggest awe moment?
Like, what do you mean by awe? What's the awe moment?
Like, awe moment to me is like, oh man, why didn't I even think about that? Like, I should have been doing this for a while. Like, oh wow, like that's like the mind-blowing idea. Like, I should have been, merchandising my product and get myself out there more. Oh wow, I didn't see that that how the artist is doing, I should have thought of it that way. What has been like your kind of moment, like your mind blowing moment so far?
Well, that's a really difficult one because I feel like I have that every day. But I think the biggest like aha moment for me is definitely making. So when I was transitioning, when I was like really like was determined to really start investing and start really doing music for real. So what triggered that is, so remember I mentioned to you, like I started doing sales, knocked on doors, sold B2B copier sales. And what I thought the next step was going into medical device sales. And I thought that was going to be my happiness, money. This is why I was working my ass off for, like, and doing the shit that I didn't like. This is going to be like, my parents are going to be so proud of me. I'm going to be making 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. So I landed a medical device like selling job, which I thought, hell yes, this is going to be a big break. Like, everything is amazing, going as I planned, right?
The stars are lighting for you. That's what your thought process at the moment.
Yes. And then I fucking hate it. Like, I hated it even more than Xerox. I hated even more than solar. I hated so much. Like, I hated the people that, like, this person that I was underworking. He was not my person that I would, be around. Anyways, I don't want to talk negative about anybody, but it just was not a fit for me.
Yeah.
And I realized the truth about medical industry. A lot of like falsifying documentations and, well, not falsifying, but like you're, yeah. So anyways, and I never quit on anything. I've never been a quitter. Like, I got my first job when I was 14. I never quit. I was like, no, I'm gonna persevere. I'm gonna do. I'm not a quitter. Like, I'm a freaking, like, I'm gonna fucking go get it. Like, I've always been like that, ever since I was little, And 6 months into the job, I decided to quit. And that is something that I've never done in my life. And I decided to walk away from something that I thought it was going to be life-changing for me, and that it was what I worked so hard to get to. And when I was in that job, my life was flashing before my eyes. Like, am I just going to do this for the rest of my life and make this money and just die? Like, I started to have all these crazy thoughts. Like, and that's, I think that's like the lowest point in my life. Wow. I was so desperate. Like, but it was like, if I quit, my parents are going to be disappointed. Like, I'm going to let down everybody, including me, but at the same time, that job made me realize the real thing, the real truth. Like, I stopped thinking about money. I stopped chasing materialistic shit, which I swear to God, I was, before that moment, I was going out to PB, getting fucked up with my girlfriends, drinking, taking shots, but like, like I was like living like every other people, just going out, partying, blowing my money, like doing whatever, not really caring about why I'm living, you know? And that 6 months of my life has been the most like awakening, but also at the same time most like lowest moment like in my life. And imagine like someone like me quitting that job that my parents are so proud of and all these things, and I felt like they were actually proud of me for once in my life. Walking away from that was the hardest thing, but I think it's the best thing I did. And but the aha moment comes after. Like I realized when I started doing music and how this makes me feel, no matter how hard it is, how fulfilled and satisfied. And even though I have a really shitty ass gig, you know, like I still feel like I'm doing me. Like I'm really truly following my passion and my heart and not listening to what my parents think that I should be doing. Like none of that, right? So aha moment was that the universe has been trying to tell me this whole time, and I didn't listen. There were signs throughout my whole life pointing at this, and I failed to listen. And universe had to teach me through the lowest point, and universe put me there to teach me a lesson, like a real life value lesson, that life is not about money. Life is not about a nice car you drive, because with that job, I was gonna go buy a Audi or something. You know, I was thinking about that. And then so all these materialistic things, I was talking about, buying a house, blah, 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 making 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. So I was mapping all this out. But that, event really taught me that life is not about that, And then, that was a big aha moment for me. But it came way after, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I realized that, damn, this whole life, universe has given me signs, so many signs, but I failed to listen, So I have to get to that moment, that really heartbreaking, really lowest point of my life, to wake up to it. And then, it's pretty intense, actually. Now I think about it. But,
yeah, I mean,
I cried my eyes out. I never felt so like a failure in that moment. I felt like I was disappointing my family, disappointing myself. I felt like such a failure. I never felt like that, so devastated and so shitty. But then I look back now and I'm just like, everything happens for a reason. And that phrase, people just say it, but that makes sense to me way more. And it's really I feel it when I think about that moment, because it really did happen. If that medical device sales job went really, really well, like how I imagined it to be, and I'm making this money and going well and I'm super happy, I would not be sitting here having this conversation with you right now. I would not have music on Spotify. I would not have a music video out. I wouldn't have any of this.
It wouldn't be Doah's Daydream at all.
Yeah.
So the dream would have been just a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything cool. Happens for, that was an aha moment for me.
I think that's kind of funny though, right? Because you probably never thought of it until I guess I asked you that question, because you're like, wow, now thinking about it, that's kind of where you're at now. If it wasn't for that low point, you wouldn't be here, like you said, talking to me about your career, keep doing the gigs that you have done, even to the point of waiting for 15 minutes. You needed to wait for those 15 minutes. I mean, you needed that low point to get you to that point of waiting in your car for 15 minutes and then saying all right, I'm out, all right, let's do this. Or you wouldn't have got to that point of being on that stage and all right, you guys sing to me too, and that would have never happened if that low point wasn't there in your life. you know, and I do believe in like the universe kind of like guides you in a way, right? I mean, of course, there's some people that don't view it as that, and there's some people that just go down even worse roads, right? And sometimes I feel like they just don't see those avenues, the opportunities. They kind of victimize themselves, and that's kind of a good thing that you didn't do, right? You didn't victimize yourself of like, oh, like everything's so bad for me that's going on. Like that happens a lot these days, where it's like everything's so bad.
Well, the interesting thing about that is like how I used to victimize myself a lot, and that comes from like my mom. She is that epitome of that, and I still watch her do it now. And when you're around that, like growing up so much, like you tend to kind of become that. And being like self-aware, and like I always had this thing like I don't want to be like that kind of thing because we didn't really have a good like relationship. So I was always like, like I'm not gonna like be like her. So there was always that, like just because I knew like something was not right,
Yeah.
But I had to really, really work hard on like really. I still go there sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I still have that moments of thoughts of like victimizing myself, like, oh, why is this happening to me? Like, why is it me? Like, But that was my life when I was in my late teens and early 20s.
Yeah.
But I realized that, and I realized my mom's like that, and then I realized I was like that, and I hated that. So I really had to work so hard because it became a habit.
It's a habit. Because of habit, you're right.
So I have to really change my whole lifestyle and the way I think about everything. Like, it's funny that I'm here in Hawaii right now, and as I become more aware and more mature, like,
I'm sorry,
even like a little thing.
By any chance, are you a Star Wars fan by any chance? I know I'm like a little going off topic, but are you a Star Wars?
A little bit, but yeah.
So I'm a huge,
like super nerdy.
Oh, I am. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd.
But I love Star Wars.
So one thing that I always like took in, it's kind of funny because I always kind of quote Star Wars.
Yoda quote?
Yeah, it's going to be a Yoda quote, actually. You're right.
Yes.
You have to unlearn what you have learned, like, and what I feel that means, it's like what you just said, like you are growing up to being, like, for instance, for you, right? You said that you kind of grew up with your mom and that you're becoming that kind of habit, but you kind of, that's where that kind of quote comes in. Like you have to unlearn that part of the habit to learn something else, right? To learn a different process. You have to unlearn, to and you still said it yourself, like you're still learning to this day to not try to get to that level of victimizing yourself. I'm still learning on that too. I'm a lot better at it now because I'm like, you know what? Now I try to see it as opportunity. It's like, okay, cool. Why, like, instead of saying why me, like, yeah, hell yeah, it is me. It's gonna, of course, like, throw me the challenges and let me see how I can get through these obstacles, right? But it took me a while to learn that. It's still taking me a while,
Yeah.
But it's that phrase that what kind of like Mr. Yoda says, you have to unlearn what you have learned, and start learning a new process, honestly. And and that goes for anybody out there, like any of the listeners who has that problem, because even sometimes people don't even realize it, that they're victimizing themselves, like, oh my God, everything happens to me. Everybody has that like bad luck kind of thing, right? Everybody's like, oh, bad luck happens to me. Oh, I never get the lottery. Oh, I never get the raffle because I never win. It's just bad luck on myself. That's a form of victimizing yourself, right? And you kind of have to learn how to not do that anymore. But he said it's hard. It's hard, but it's all perspective. I feel like, you have to, I put it into a lot of perspective. Like, yeah, give me these challenges, give me these ways so I can learn how to humanly possible get past it, get past that level. And I'm lucky to have this podcast, honestly, because I've learned from so many people, who from different industries, different avenues, musicians, artists, entrepreneurs, small businesses, real estate. It's cool for getting so open-minded on different aspects, different lives, and being able to be like, you know what, like it's kind of all kind of finds a similar pattern. We all, in some sort of way, even though we're all in a different industry, in some sort of way, like I said earlier, we start from the bottom and we're all grinding up, and the pattern's kind of the same. We all hit those obstacles. Where can we do better here? What challenge do I have here? How can I actually better myself mentally, or how can I get more emotional contact to myself? How can I express myself? And a lot of the people I've had here is like, it's about expressing yourself, expressing your drive, especially you have I was telling my wife right now before we got back on, and you're like, oh my gosh, she has so much energy, she has, it's an entertaining interview, of course, because people who are going to listen to this interview is going to be like, man, who is Doah? Like, man, like if you haven't heard Doah, like if she's giving you this energy on this podcast, imagine the energy level she's going to give you in at a concert, at a show. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, rock on. and it's cool, that even though, like you say, like you still have that problem of victimizing yourself at times, I feel like you're not as doing it as much as anymore as before, right? You're not doing it because you're realizing that problem, and you're catching yourself. Wait, I'm acting a way that I didn't like to act before, or I didn't want to act like, as someone else. I mean, don't get me wrong. Rest in peace, my pops. There was a lot of things I didn't like, as an attitude wise. He was very machista Mexican, for coming from old times, you know what I'm saying? And where he didn't show a lot of emotion at times, tries to stay up front. And I wanted to change that for myself and for my son, who is 6 months. And I wanted, yeah, it's a beautiful blessing. Sorry. And, so trying to teach those new values to him, right? And of course, it's going to be stuff that he's not going to like that I do, and then he's going to have to follow his path, and he'll follow his. But my way is just like, all right, hopefully everything I teach you get something out of it. Like I got something out of my pops, I got a lot out of him, good stuff, and whatnot. And hopefully he gets the same, my son gets the same way from me. And starts to see, like, you know what, if my dad is not afraid to go, because honestly, at the beginning of the pod, like I always say, when you listen to the podcast at first, like when you're barely starting, kind of like what you said earlier, when you first listen to your voice, and I first listened to my voice in the podcast, you're kind of like, oh, is that really how I sound? Like, oh,
I hate it, though, too. When I first heard myself sing, I was like, what the hell is this crap? Get it out of here.
Yeah, right. And that's funny though, because you're kind of like, you're all right, not that bad actually. It gets normal. It's because it starts to become a normal routine, to the point where it's like now we're doing 2 interviews a week. Next month we basically almost have all of January booked in a way, and it's kind of cool because it's just that normal habit now. It's like, all right, let's go, continue, let's keep doing these. The more we do, the better the more growth we're gonna do, not just within the podcast, but within ourselves as well.
For sure.
So one of my last few questions is, what advice do you give out to other artists out there who want to start their music career, who are in the music industry right now? Like, what advice do you give to them that you have learned the most?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is don't be so critical, because as an artist, like, we're all very, like, creative, and we all can tend to be really emotional, so we're very sensitive, and we're really, really hard on ourselves because, we really care about our craft. So, there's times that I would overthink things, like I'd be holding on to the music because I feel like it's not good enough or like whatever. But, I think the biggest advice for me is just take action. Like, kind of like what we talked about, it's that all that shit in your head, like the fear and the doubts, and you can literally stew on that shit for days and days and not go anywhere.
Yeah.
But just don't even think about it, and just not give a flying F what other people say, other people might think, because guess what? This is not their life. This is your life. And just believe it and just freaking send it, you know? And who cares what other people think?
Yeah.
You know, do it for yourself. Like, do it for you, and just don't wait. Just do it now. If you think about something, if you don't do it now, if you still want it, someone else is going to take it. Like, so you have to do it now. Like, taking action, and you're going to fail, but you're going to learn from it, and you're going to do better next time. And that's life in general. So don't be afraid of failing, because if you fail, that's a really, really good thing, because only good things can come out of it. And like you even said, it's all perspective. But don't forget to freaking love yourself, man. Like, you know, say good things to yourself. Don't be so critical. Don't be so hard on yourself. Like, you're making things happen. Be proud, and always remind yourself, you know, that you're awesome, and that you're beautiful, and that you're worthy, you know, because the truth is, you have to believe in yourself before other people can believe in you.
Yeah.
That you're worth of whatever you're pursuing. So I say, you know, be nice to yourself, say good things to yourself, and take action. That would be like the biggest advice. And don't give a flying F what other people say or might say. Who cares? F it all. This is your life, you know. So that's it.
Write your own story.
Yeah.
Write your own story.
Exactly, because you're worth it.
Yep.
Like, for real.
And one thing I want to add to that is, you know, it's true. Like, even if it's hard for you to say it, because some people will be like, how can I say myself, like, oh, do good in the mirror? You know, some people don't believe that. Like, they're just so down. One way that I felt that, like, kind of overcomes all that you can always, everybody can any practice. Like, for instance, with me, right? I wake up every morning to my wife and to my son. You know, a lot of times my son's actually in the bed because he's crying at night and he comes in, you know, bed. But I'm the first one to wake up in the morning, usually, right? At like 6 a.m. And the first thing I do is I see them, and I'm very gracious, very blessed of what I have in my life, you know? So I start thinking of, like, thank you, like, to my wife. Like, you know, like, she's been there for me, loved me. Thank you to my son, like, you know, the love that he gives me, the my friends out there. Shout out to all my friends, to my family. You know, I always think of them like, and that's how I always start, like, be gracious of what I have, or what I do have, and not be like, oh, I want more. This sucks. I need more. You have enough. You know, you have enough what's around you, and you have to be thankful about that. And that's actually the beginning process of being happy, right? Because that's your, like, you know, like, for instance, with you, right? I'm pretty sure, like, if you wake up and if you're like, man, I'm thankful that I had that gig last night. I'm thankful that I have this guitar to live off of, you know, or I'm thankful to be in Hawaii at this moment and share the holidays at this time, and the special times and the holidays. It's all about first bringing in the gratitude, and then, like you said, fuck what everybody else says. You know, this is your life, write your story. Take action, honestly. And you can't take action unless you're gracious. Honestly, I feel like you can't really take action unless you're gracious.
You know what? That's so great, because that gratitude, like, that's something that I started about a year ago. That is a game changer.
Yeah, it is.
Like, because I do it at night, and I do it I'm more of a night. I like to calm down because I'm not a morning person. But I started doing it at night, and you know, if I'm having, like, really hard time, like, I always go back to, like, what am I grateful for? And I just pick maybe even just like a tiny little thing, like what I ate or something, like having the money to actually be able to eat this today, like, just like little things like that. Like, that's been like such a big game changer in, like, my outlook and my life and just everything. Like,
and sometimes you have to also choose the right people too around your life too, as well, because sometimes you can have people who are just, like, blaming everything on everybody. And I've, you know, there's times, like, I mean, there's sometimes where you can't escape it because it's family and whatnot. Because there's, of course, family's gonna have that too. Every family's gonna have like that negative person blaming something for everybody. Uh, and I'm big on. I try to be big on ownership. But, you know, take a fault because maybe something bad happened, but I need to take ownership of it. You know, I don't want to blame someone else. Like, this podcast interview fucked up. It could have been like earlier, right? I could have been like, Doah, what the hell? Like, why didn't you charge your laptop? Like, but no, like, all right, well, like that happened. What can we fix about it? What's I got to take ownership of it. You know, I can't react to something negative. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be like,
people need to practice ownership, man.
yeah,
Accountability and
accountability.
ownership.
Yeah,
Because that lacks so hard nowadays, and
yeah.
you know, I am guilty of it too, and like that's.
Yeah, and we all strive for it. Like it is those type like it's like we said, easier said than done. You know, those type of topics that you want to blame something because you don't want to put it on yourself, but you have to take accountable of it, and it's fine to take accountable of it because once you take accountable of it, you start to like taking action of like how to change that too. You know how to change those because if you don't, you keep blaming, you keep putting the blame factor, and everybody's gonna be like there's people in my life, you know, are just like, I don't want to be next to them because all they do is just talk shit about somebody or talk shit about their boss or talk shit about their family member. And it's just like negative, you know what I'm saying? And then like, it just spreads. And then now you're associated with that person and you're like, oh, like, yeah, I hang out with them. Like, it's cool, whatever. And that's where you have to deviate because now there's levels, right? You're trying to go up here, not as like maybe as a like money wise, but you're trying to be here as a mental level.
People like that want to bring you down, man.
Yeah, exactly.
No
that's what I'm saying.
Nope. Yeah.
Because they're right here.
Drag you down.
And then so like you're going back to their level. If you still kind of bring it back to their level, you know, you're trying to grow. They're bringing you back down. You know, and sometimes it's hard to say bye. You know, but sometimes you have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To progress yourself.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean. This is a really cool podcast. This is a very there's a lot of depth on emotions here in this one, like rejection, failure. We went through a lot for sure in this episode. Yeah. This is a fun one.
Look what you did, man.
I know, right? I didn't even.
You're a good interviewer.
Thank you. And I appreciate that, Ariana. It's an honor to have you. I know we're cutting into time.
Honor to be here.
And we didn't even get to the cooking channel, and hopefully I'll have you again in the future, and we'll definitely talk about that and what's going on in the future too. Before we let go, what's next? What's your next project? What's going on this coming year? This year's about to end. What is your future like in the 2021?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm really, really excited for 2021, and shout out to my band, my guys, Chris, Joe, and Steve. They have been my freaking backbone to all of this, and I'm really, really excited for 2021. We have a new song coming out. It's you heard my music. Every song is very different.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I noticed
reggae, rock, pop. Like, it's like, whoa, what the hell, you know? Yeah. So we have another song that's coming out January 1st called Scattered Lucid Dreams, and that's a song that you're going to be like, what? Too. It's like a dub reggae, electronic, kind of like dub reggae, soul, like that type of song, kind of like Thievery Corporation vibe. So that's something that it's very different from every other song. So, but working on an album also, and a couple music videos in the works. And the big goal for this year is we're gonna plan a summer tour, like late summer.
Let's go. Yeah.
So depending on the corona situation,
COVID times,
yeah. But if the vaccine and everything goes kind of as it plans, and live music start to kind of open up a little bit, festivals. Don't be alarmed if you go to a festival and you see a gorilla style just playing in the parking lot. Okay, don't be alarmed.
No, go there.
We are gonna do that.
There we go.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna make sure that we are gonna
rock out.
Rock out and make sure that people know who we are. So
That's dope. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we want to spread the love. We want to spread the love of music and help you, find your emotions in your soul and who you are, hopefully.
Oh yeah. That was dope. I was gonna ask you something, but man, I just lost right now. I was gonna cut you off for a bit because I had like really quick thought, but you kept on going. But I was like, oh man. But anyways, where can people follow you? Where can people? Oh, actually, sorry, I did want to ask because you did give a shout out to your band. Just a little quick because we didn't even get to that part. How did you get the band together?
So I struggled a lot in the beginning, like like recording, writing music, doing all that stuff. I can do it on my own time, on my own money. That's something I have control over. But finding band members to play with you, and you're like trying to, get people to play your music and play with you and like practice every day, like not every day, but like on a regular basis. Like it's the most challenging thing, I think, so far for me.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, I kind of just was like really stressed about it, but I just decided to let it go. Like, and I had a band guys that I was playing with before COVID, but it just kind of fizzled out, and I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave it up to the universe, but I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and if other musicians see that I'm worthy of them playing with me, the right people will come into my life.
Mm.
And as soon as I put that out there, my bass player Joe, like we connected more on a deeper level. I know who he was, but we connected more on a deeper level, and we started playing together. And he's seen me perform, so he knows what kind of performer I am. And I found my lead guitar player, and I met the drummer through Joe, Steve, and we had a couple jam sessions. And Chris, I met him through my friend Owen, who they're in their own band.
Oh, wow.
And I started did a couple jam sessions with them, and it just kind of naturally, he's like, yeah, I'll come rehearse and see how it goes. And everybody's the vibe, and we're all kind of on the same page of what we want out of music, and which this is a rare thing, because you can imagine like just getting 4 people like and figuring out like the same music taste and what they want out of their music career, and like how dedicated they are. Like you can only imagine like trying to get people together is like really hard. So yeah, I mean, it kind of just naturally happened organically, which like I was forcing it too much before. But now, like, I'm so grateful for this core group, and they're so amazing, and they're so professional too. And I'm really excited to start writing music together as a band. But yeah, like, it's been, we had a couple gigs because this is kind of a new thing. We started practicing maybe together like 3 months. Well, 2 months, I think.
Oh.
And we had a couple gigs, and it's been absolutely amazing. So, yeah.
Well,
really excited.
Well, for the listeners out there, you guys better be ready for Doah's Daydream out there. It's coming at you guys 2021 for sure. So I think, well, yeah, where can people see you? Where can people find you? Instagram, Facebook, Spotify.
Yeah, we are on all the platforms. We have music out on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, you name it. We're all out there. But if you want to reach out to me directly, I'd be more than happy to chat, and whatever you need. If you hear this and things speak out to you and you want to ask more questions about things, please reach out to me. I can be reached at Instagram is probably the best platform that I'm most active on. It's Doah's Daydream, Doahs Daydream. Just slide in that DM, baby.
Just slide in that DM.
Yeah.
Now, for all the guys, don't overcrowd her DM either.
Oh yeah. Be respectful, please.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Doah. It was a really great honor to have you on the show. This is definitely not going to be the last time. We'll definitely have you on in the future, see how you progress, and talk about what that journey's been like from here to then, you know what I'm saying? And we wish you a very good holidays, and especially in Hawaii. It's kind of cool that you guys are 80 degrees over there. Over here it's kind of chilly, actually.
Yeah, right?
I shouldn't have never took my hoodie off.
Maybe when this whole COVID thing is like done and over with, maybe we can make a cooking video.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, we definitely got it. Yeah. We definitely got to double about that. We'll definitely talk about that on the side. And I'll definitely, show you my tricks and tips and stuff like that about cooking. I love cooking. It's one of my passions. I've been cooking professionally for the past 8 years.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah.
I don't know if I'm worthy now.
I mean, I've done everything from cooking at a buffet, from cooking, from a taco shop to fine dining, to catering. Now
that's amazing.
I'm taking a break from the cooking right now. I'm just actually cooking from home, just like doing my own type of recipes. Especially right now because the food industry is very down, especially during the COVID times. Kind of sucks seeing a lot of friends of mine struggle, during this time.
Yeah.
And kind of like I said to them, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's kind of how I did it. Like I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. I had income come from different places, like I have a janitorial business as well, which is actually growing more because places need to be cleaned up. We're offering if anybody who's listening too, this is my way to advertise. We're also, we have a fogger that disinfects like an office. Like we just did this office had an outbreak at their place, and I don't want to name the office, but we put on our PPE gowns. We have the machine hooked up and everything. We put disinfectant in the machine. We fog up the office. We don't do the electronics. We actually disinfect with wipes and stuff like that. So anybody out there, if you guys are here, because I know people that have been affected by COVID, if you guys need some disinfectant or anything like that, definitely hit me up. But if you're trying to listen to some good ass music, definitely hit up Doah.
Yeah. Dude, that's rad, man.
Thank
you so much for having me.
No, thank you, and it's a really honor. It's a great honor, and everybody who's listening on this, you guys should definitely check out the YouTube. Honestly, once you guys see Doah, you can see so much energy she has, even on the YouTube page. She's gonna have. It's an awesome one. It's really cool to have you on here. So, any last words from you?
No, I just want to thank you, man. Like, I know this is not easy. Like, my hat's off to you. Keep going.
Thanks.
I really, really enjoy this conversation with you, and I've done podcasts before, and you're amazing at what you do. And
I hope I was better than
that one. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you. Take the time to thank you.
Thank you so much. And all right, guys, you guys here. You guys can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, all types of platforms, even YouTube. Check out for that new song that's coming out January 1st, you said?
Yes.
What's it called? I'm sorry.
Scattered Lucid Dreams.
Scattered Lucid Dreams. Wow, that sounds like
Scattered Lucid Dreams.
Yeah. It's like a trippy song already.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
It's gonna be good.
There we go. I can't wait for it. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching the show. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Later, guys.
Bye. Thanks for listening.